Welcome to the next step of the event, Panel Building Made Smarter. My name is Jan-Henry Schall and I'm responsible at the business unit Service at Rittal for the technical trainings and the Rittal Innovation Center. And from this innovation center here in Haiger in Germany, I welcome you for the next 1.5 hours, where we will hand over you hopefully interesting but helpful details for your daily work with our support and our solution from Rittal and ePlan. Before we will speak in detail about optimization, we must know where we were yesterday, where we are today, but where we will go in the future is also important. Yesterday, we spoke very often with you about products itself. It means the main question was, what is the product, what you need, when you will get it, and mostly, what is the price for this product? This will also today one of the main questions. But much more important is, in our opinion, that we will speak with you about how can we help you to optimize your daily work, to optimize your processes in the whole value chain at panel building. And there we will speak not just about small things, we will speak about each process step or each area. So we will start with the part of planning or engineering. Then we will come through the part of commercial things, like sourcing, like delivering. But also then we will go to the part of manufacturing in your company with our help. Last but not least, via the final product, we will also hand over you solutions to improve the daily work for the end customer for the part of operation of the panel itself. Finally, we will speak about digitalization or digitization, but not just for each process step. We will hand over information how we can create a networking between all the process steps to increase mainly the effort and maximize the effort on your side. The most important thing is we will speak with you how can we, Rittal and ePlan, help you to increase your success. We will show you some kind of this way. And therefore, we will speak about 3 areas. We will speak about smart products. It means solution and services. Then we will speak about smart processes, especially for sourcing, but also for production. Production means your manufacturing part. And finally, we will speak about the whole value chains. And this is what we have built up here inside the Innovation Center, what we will show you today. And that is just a small overview what we have built up here. You can see this on this picture. We have different stations where we have installed the solution of Rittal and ePlan, what we explained. Finally, it looks like this. Maybe you remember this picture from the preview video to the invitation to this event from today. But now we will go a little bit deeper, and now we will take a deeper look inside your process, in your process as customer. And here you can see just a picture from one of our customers. This is a middle-sized customer, but here inside Innovation Center, and especially today, we will speak with you as customer with a size of 5 or 10 employees, but also for companies with more than 1,000 employees inside the shop floor or inside the whole company. This is our main thinking. So we will speak about Industry 4.0. But behind this word Industry 4.0, there are more buzzwords. Different buzzwords, and everyone interprets in his own way. Maybe we have found the right buzzwords, what we will see in the next few seconds. Yes, and this words, what you see on this slide here, this is what we will show you today. We will show you that we, Rittal and ePlan, will be your strong partners for sustainable panel building and switchgear manufacturing. And for this, we will speak with you about 4 areas. We will speak with you about part of engineering. Then we will come through the part of sourcing. After this, to the part of manufacturing inside your shop floor, but also, last but not least, to the operation part for the end customers. So we will show you for these different areas the digital workflow. It means digital supported workflow for your daily processes. And if we speak about Industry 4.0, inside the definition, there will be needed an internal link to reach the digital workflow. And the link for the digital workflow will be the digital twin itself. So here, inside the branch of panel building and switchgear manufacturing, we will speak about the digital twin from the switchgear or the panel or the enclosure itself. Finally, inside the digital twin are just data. And this data must you store every day. You must handle the data. You must hand over the data. You must do a lot of things with the data, and the data must be safe. And this is important. And also for this kind of your daily requirements, Rittal and ePlan and also our company, German Edge Cloud, can help you with different solutions, like the solutions for IT infrastructure, but also with applications up to cloud solutions. But now we will come back directly to the workflow of panel building process. And for this, you see on design a lot of different process steps in the different areas. And we will go with you through all these different steps inside this task now, later on, and take deeper looks inside the different areas. And we will start with the part of engineering. And you see here some different points what must be done or must be created inside the part of engineering to create the digital twin. But to start the work of engineering, the engineer or the man who makes the planning needs requirements, needs data or itself. And very often these requirements from preliminary planning or preliminary work from different companies comes in an analog way. But we will speak with you about the digital workflow. And so on, the possibility what we will just show you or just inform you is a tool what ePlan can offer you. There we will speak about the preliminary help. It means ePlan pre-planning. So all the requirements comes directly in the engineering workflow to the engineer in a digital kind and can hand over to the different next process steps and can be used very seamless. And this is important to reach the digital workflow. And now we will make a deeper look inside the part of engineering. And for this, I will now introduce my colleague, Michael Kranz. He is responsible at ePlan as consultant value chain. So Michael, can you please explain to our visitors the part of engineering with the most important things, what they can use to reach more effort and can be faster and easier work?
Hello, here we are at the engineering, and we are starting with a functional engineering on ePlan Electric P8. Therefore, we have a look on my screen. What we see here is, for example, the power supply or a function of a machine up to the cabin light of a machine. And we imagine that the complete functional engineering is done inside Electric P8. But we are talking about a digital twin, we are talking about Industry 4.0 and machining out of the engineering. And therefore we need some information. For example, if you look on the wires, on the connections, we know exactly from where to where the connection goes to, but we don't know what is necessary, which diameter, which color, which part number. And so we need definition points. We have definition points here for all the wirings. We have definitions for all the components. If you look here in the components, here we can find the part number with all necessary data behind. These are coming off a part database. This is my local database where I can find all necessary data for the components for all steps of engineering. If you start with the database is empty. You have to collect this data. You can do this completely manual by hand, but you can imagine you need a lot of time. Therefore, a good help is a data portal. Let's have a look on the data portal. You can reach the data portal under utilities, direct in the system. Here we have the data portal. We have more than 300 manufacturers in the data portal, and it's grow up every day with nearly 1 million components. Important is the quality of the components are responsible by the manufacturers. So we have a feedback system. You can give up to 5 stars, like on eBay or Amazon. You can give a feedback direct to the manufacturers if you are missing some information. Okay, back to our engineering. If we have done all the engineering, if we have defined all our components and our wiring, what is the next step? We print it out on paper, we bring it to the workshop, and we hope that they build up our enclosure like we have planned. This can be or not. A big question is how deep are the informations I give to the workshop. Maybe we spend a lot of time to do some 2D works for the workshop. We make some layouts, some drilling layouts, and go on. But our target is to get this out of a digital twin, for example, fully automatically. And therefore, we're switching now to ePlan Pro Panel. Pro Panel is my tool for working inside 3D. We have here an empty 3D workspace. You see our 3 small arrows. And I want to start with a packaging for all my components. I want to start with an enclosure. I go back to the data portal. We use the data portal also for all tools, Rittal tools, for example. And I start and search it over the part number. If you know exactly the name, you can use it also for the searching. Now, the data portal is looking in the complete database for this part number and for fitting hits. You see we have here 2 fitting hits. This is, I think, too small. That is the right one. Let's have a look inside. We have some general data. We have some small icons that show me which data are provided in the data set. We have here the rating systems with the stars. We have here a preview, our 2D macro and a 3D macro. Why 3D macro and not 3D model? On a 3D macro, there are a lot of informations behind on the 3D model. That means the 3D macro know exactly which parts are fitting on this enclosure. And this I can hand over to a tool from Rittal, the Rittal configuration system. And this is a tool you can find on the Rittal webpage or direct here out of the data portal. And you see the system hand over the information direct to the Rittal tool. And now the configuration system is looking for all fitting parts and daily actual, depending on some rules what are defined by Rittal to their components. You see here I need some side panels. I push the button, add side panels, and the side panels come to the right position. I need a plinth system with all necessary parts. I only decide before a high. I say add, and the plinth system is on the right position. We want to have a system light also. We take the system light, we add it to our enclosure, and the system light is on the right position. We can do many more here inside. We can save configurations. We can share information. We can do modifications because we have also machining interfaces inside. But for us, it's more important, how can I get this information back to ePlan? Therefore, I have here the button Generate ePlan Data. And now a tool, the data portal generator, is starting to take over this complete configuration to ePlan Pro Panel. This needs some time because we are short on time. I skip it and I use a stored configuration out of my database I have prepared. And now you see there is our modified enclosure. I place it. And now let's have a look what I have done. Here you see there is a part number, configured with timestamp. There we have also the part numbers of all other parts, and that's important that we later have all part numbers in our bill of material for ordering and go on. This is interesting for all Rittal parts, but as next step is the question, okay, what we are doing now with the rest, we have wire ducts, we have DIN rails, and so we start now to fill it with all the components. I have prepared it a little bit, so it looks if we have placed all components inside our digital twin. And you see, okay, it looks not so bad, but the big question is, have I forgot something? Is everything placed what I have planned in Electric P8? And therefore I'm using a powerful tool, our navigator, our 3D mounting layout navigator. And therein I can define a filter. And this filter compares now the Electric P8 and the placement of a Pro panel and says me, okay, you have forgotten this component. So I can take it per drag and drop, place it on the right position, and you will see the filter is empty. And so I have a very good control, very fast control, that all components I have planned are placed now. Okay, on the next step, we're talking about the climatization. And for the climatization, I use also a tool from Rittal Therm. You can reach it also on the data portal. I show you the browser version because we are too short on time. Here in the browser version, you can hand over the complete project information about the heat loss of this project, and Rittal Therm do automatically the calculation and give you the right cooling unit as result. I have prepared it and I have taken over it to my device list. And the right cooling unit we can find now here in the device list. But I take it per drag and drop and place it on my workspace. In our case, we want it on the right side panel. We place it on the right side panel. The system is asking me for the right drilling pattern. I chose one drilling pattern. And now let's have a look what we have done by the placement. Therefore, I activate the drilling view. On the drilling view, you can see now the cutouts, what come automatically from the 3D macro to my side panel. And these are the right information also for my machining. You can see also all drilling and tapping informations of wire ducts and DIN rails. These are coming automatically if you place the wire ducts and the DIN rails. There in the macros are also drilling patterns, what defined automatically the right drilling or tapping depending on these drilling patterns. Okay, I deactivate the drilling view, and now the big question is, can I verify my climatization? Therefore, it's necessary to know where are the hotspots in my enclosure. And therefore, we have a powerful tool in our views, the thermal design view. And here I can show you the heat loss information, and we see exactly where are the hotspots. Did I have done the positioning on the right way? The next question is, I have to know where is the airflow inside the enclosure, to know, can I reach all components? And therefore, we can have in the views, I can activate the conditioned area. And here we see, this is a 3D information, depending on data of the 3D macro from a Rittal cooling unit. Because this is only possible with a Rittal cooling unit. Based on these information, Pro panel calculate the optimized cooling area into our workspace and shows me now, okay, in this area the cooling will works perfectly. And now I can decide, okay, here on the top the airflow is not very good. I can use a fan unit, for example, or I can use an air plate here on the air outtake to modify the airflow inside the enclosure. Okay, I deactivate the thermal design because too much colored informations are not helpful. And now we are talking about the wiring. You remember the wiring we have talked about from where to where we have the connection. We have defined the connection. What we need to have is the length of the connection. And for the machine, we need these informations. And so we do a routing. I show it to you. I do a routing for this component. And ProPanel do automatically now the routing inside the enclosure, and we have now the wiring inside our digital twin. And this is working because we have a connection network inside. It means by placement of the 3D macros of our wire ducts, automatically these connection lines coming out of the macros of the wire ducts. And so we build up a complete network, what we can modify by hand, for example, here for the switches, for the main switch and emergency switch. And on this network, all components can connect together, depending on rules and filters. I can also modify connections by hand. If I do this modified connection get a stamp for the system that by the next automatically routing, the connection stays where I have modified it. If I've done all the routing inside my enclosure, I have also the possibility that I calculate the fill capacity of my wire ducts. So I know, or I can see, okay, I have defined a limit of fill capacity for my wire ducts. For example, in my case, 80%. If I'm below, we have green, everything is all right. If I'm between 80 and 100, I get an orange color. And if I see a red coloring, then this wire duct is too small and I have to change it. This changing is very easy on the digital twin. You need much more time and money if you recognize this as later on the workshop. So you can see the digital twin is a very powerful tool to find problems, errors, before you destroy real material on the workshop. Okay, and if we have done this all on the right way, then we are using machinings. I can show you now the interfaces. Here under Utilities, Manufacturing Data, we find all interfaces for machines. Artex, for example, is a machine to build up the complete terminal strips. We want to use Perforex BC. Yeah, the Perforex BC do the cutouts, drillings, and tappings. Therefore, I choose an output directory, where I want to save the machine program for the workshop. I push the button. Okay, I've done the output. Perfect. And now the guy in the workshop can load the program, prepare the machine, push the button, and start. And so I think it's a very fast and effective way of engineering, and also a good benefit for your workshop to prepare machines and work steps inside the workshop. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you, Michael, for this introduction about the engineering tools, what Rittal and ePlan offers our customers to create a very efficient engineering part with the final thing, the digital twin. But now is the next question for you. The most important thing, finally you will have a real product. And so the question is, what are the next step and what is the way to produce the real product, to hand over the real product to your end customer? And for this, before we come to the part of manufacturing, there comes the most important part, the part of sourcing. So it means ordering, it means procurement, other things. And for this, I will just place 3 tools, important tools, what you will help inside your daily work, inside the part of sourcing. We will start with the tool, ePlan Integration Suite. Then we will come to the Rittal online shop. And last but not least, we have a solution it calls electronic data interchange. So what is behind these words? If we speak about the ePlan Integration Suite, we speak about a tool what allows you to intercommunicate the data between the technical system like ePlan and the commercial system like your ERP or PDM system or PLM system to make a bidirectional way to hand over data later also for your sourcing way. The solution, the Rittal online shop, allows you some important thing. Maybe to check the availability of standard parts, what we have on stock. Also, you can see your special price for the standard parts, what is behind the system, also in your ERP, but also in our ERP system. And last but not least, you can also track your orders, what you can place directly in the online shop. And finally, maybe in the future, you will have an automated or fully automated and supported way. And for this, the solution electronic data interchange will help you to do this in an automated way based on standard formats. If you have more questions or will have more details about this solution, please join later on the deep dives or place your questions now inside the chat here in this task. And now we will come to the next area, what I explained you folds before. We will come to the part of manufacturing. So you will see here a lot of small or different parts. And for this, I'm glad to have my colleague on my side to explain it to you. And so I introduce now my colleague, Jens von Kiesling. He is member of the business unit Rittal Automation System, and he's responsible for the business development and the customer services. So Jens, please explain our customers, our visitors, what are the key information about a different solution for the manufacturing part.
Hello and welcome to the shop floor area of the Rittal Innovation Center. We want to take you on a tour, on a virtual tour here through our solutions. The solutions in a shop floor area are exactly the task of the business unit Rittal Automation Systems. I am from Rittal Automation Systems, and yeah, again, welcome. Even if automation systems is part of our world, not everything that can be optimized is automation technology. So we want to show you today, beside automation machines, also solutions for handling, also some software solution parts, and also some equipment like our hand tools. In our portfolio are high-quality tools in a special design like screwdrivers, different pliers like stripping pliers and crimping pliers, up to mechanical and hydraulic punch presses. So we are focused on all the need of a panel builder's workshop.
Processes in the shop floor after delivery of the different goods from different suppliers starts normally at the station at incoming goods and order picking and pre-assembling. So Jens, please explain are the options and solutions for this point.
Yes, we are here at the point of incoming goods inside our innovation center. And let's talk a little bit about the tasks that we have here. Our tasks are, for example, unpacking, our commissioning, our pre-assembly, perhaps, or transport to other points in our shop floor. And let's see what we can offer here as solutions. And our solutions, of course, they start with the product itself. If you look at the VX25 or the AXKX systems, we have a lot of smart unpacking solutions, but also a lot of smart mounting solutions with very few tool sets and very intelligent connections that it makes your life easier. But when we take also a look of commissioning, what do we have to do? We have to store heavy parts, a challenge. This has to be stored somewhere, and also we need to transport it. And that should be done with one person only. So this cart, our storage and transport trolley, LT1000, can handle up to 500 kilograms and can easily move it to any point where it's needed. It is a storage place with height adjustable forks and a slidey surface to easily bring it in and out and to handle it with care. But also we can use that cart for bring it directly to the machines for prepare it later on and machine it. Well, okay, take a look also what we can do for pre-assembly, or also for assembly, for mounting, or wiring later on. We have 3 possibilities of mounting tables. And it starts with our smallest one that is adjustable in angle and is manually. Manually, you can also use a screwdriver, a battery screwdriver, to make an electrical one out of it, but it is manually driven. With a motor, we have another one, also adjustable in angle, so we can tilt it in every position, which is ergonomic for us, and work on our mounting panels, on our boxes, and so on. And our biggest one is a mounting table that can is height and angle adjustable. And well, we have a lot of accessories also for all these mounting tables, like quick clampers, like side extensions for bigger plates, or horizontal plates, or like this roller conveyor here on the bottom that gives us a possibility to bring a mounting panel from the side into a VX25 enclosure with only one person, and we can slide it in with our biggest mounting table. And when we have pre-built it, and it must be also, we have to bring it out to ship it, and therefore this smart lifter system is very good. It can really lift it up, and you can transport it to the place where it's needed. It can carry 1.8 tons, and it can handle paint systems up to 4.8 meters. So, okay, so let's make a short summary here. And I want to tell you that we are taking care of all the things that are needed inside the point of incoming goods, like unpacking, commissioning, pre-assembly, and transport. And of course, if something is missing, we are open-minded for you, and go in contact with us and discuss what is needed on your side. And I promise we take care on every idea, and we like your requirements for further on. Thank you.
We saw a lot of solutions for more ergonomic work, especially in the shop floor, but also up to the transport on customer side to build up the final enclosure on the right position at customer side. But now we will come to the part of machining inside the shop floor. So, Jens, can you please introduce to our visitors what is the right and the special automated solution from Rittal Automation Systems?
Yes, so we are here at the point of machining. What is our task at that point? We have to find a solution, an effective solution, for making a customized enclosure, a customized mounting panel out of our standard enclosures, which we can have in 24 hours, or we have it already on stock. So this process, very long time, seems to be not automatable, because in most of our customers are working with batch size 1, unique production. Everything is different. How can you automate things that are completely different if you have no serial production? Well, the answer is not very new. We have that product here on the market since 1999, which more than 700 installations. That should show you it is possible. So let's take a deeper look into our milling machine and into that technology. First of all, we have a horizontal standing machine, because that kind of machine don't need so much floor space, and it also gives us a possibility for easier handling with our workpieces. So the standing solution makes it easier to clamp mounting panels, makes it easier to clamp boxes. So what you see here is that we can operate with all these parts. The challenge is that comparing to another milling center which can be on the market, we have parts that are already bended, that are already painted, and that needs to be worked like this. And also complete welded enclosures that you cannot dismount. All this has to fit onto this kind of machine, and all that we have take care of. So what are the functions of that milling machine? The functions of that milling machines are drilling, tapping, and milling. So with drilling, tapping, and milling, we can bring all necessary work into our workpieces for later mounting our components on. The good thing is that the machine has an automatic tool changer, what you have here on the side. Depending on different models, we can handle more than 18, minimum 18, but also up to 40 tools at once. Every tool has an automatically tool check after preparation that we can really run that machine unattended. That's important. That's important for the ROI to run that machine completely unattended. You can do anything else in your spare time. Let's take a look at the clamping situation. On that machine, we have clampers on the bottom that are pneumatic clampers that are very quick in clamping, and we have quick hand clampers here from the top side because to handle different sizes of plates. The situation you see here, and we have also pneumatic clampers for complete welded enclosures to put it in. The situation you see here is the setup that we have one fixed side and one open side. In the open side, there are the boxes. On the fixed part, we have the plates. But what can we do with bigger plates? With bigger plates, we can close this door, and we can handle all large plates in a horizontal position. To make that horizontal or vertical is just a click in the software, extremely quick. Let's take a look also here on the working part area. This is a portal, a driving portal. X, Y, and Z axis are positioning the tool in front of our workpiece, and then we can operate. For operating, we have an 11 kilowatt spindle, and we have different things for cooling. Here inside this pressure plate is a cooling system, a minimal lubrication system with a lot of air and only a few drops of oil that are sprayed. We have rollers that can directly roll on the plate in every direction, all side rollers, that we can push it through the material and keep it quiet, and we keep the vibration out. And we have a vacuum system also as standard in every machine to bring the chips away that exist. Of course, the most of the chips away. So these are the things here. If we think about machines, there are different markets with different requirements. And for that, we have 4 types of this machine. And mainly, these types of machine, you can differentiate them in the sizes of workpieces that can be prepared. This is the most common machine, the 1007, but we also have a 2-door machine, or a machine with a smaller footprint, or a very huge machine where we can prepare big plates in a standing position, and then more than one. These are the main differences between the different machine types. How can we come to programs for that? Well, that's a good thing. If we handle with a digital twin everything is there. That means we have every hole is set up in our component library so that we directly know how to fix it. When we use a digital twin, we can bring the complete program with one click into the machine's setup to process it. But we also have two different ways. We can handle it with a simple workshop programming software directly in the workshop, and we can also import CAD files via a DXF converter. So these are the main topics, how to come to our programs. Okay, so when we look at that, all this gives us the possibility to work with an automation also if you have batch size 1, because at that point when programming is faster than marking on a plate, the whole time that you need for drilling and tapping is save time, because that can be completely automated. This machine has an incredible ROI. It can save up to 80% of your mechanical work. And it gives you the possibility to grow, because even when this machine is only 10% per day in use, the ROI is there and the rest is spare for your growth. Okay, so for most of our customers, this is the first step into automation of their shop floor.
With the milling center, what Jens has explained to you, panel builders has the possibility to create a much more quality inside the process of machining and will be much more faster and much more safer. So this is a good possibility to increase, last but not least, the quality and save time for the machining. The solution behind us was created also for machining of flat parts and cubes like enclosures. So Jens, can you please explain what is behind this word Perforex LC?
Yeah, we are here on a second station for mechanical preparation. And of course, now the question is, what is the difference? Well, the laser technology that we have here, comparing to the milling technologies, gives us a lot of opportunities. And I want to point on some. So when we look on the milling technology, we have one issue that is stainless steel. Not that it doesn't work, only it takes time. Milling technology is really, let's say, working hard on the material. As harder the material is, as much more time consumption the process is. So with stainless steel and with the amount of stainless steel, the ROI for a laser technology becomes interesting, because the laser does not know any time-speed difference. Opposite, it is a little bit faster because we do not have to take care on the paint. We have the same challenges. We need to prepare whole boxes. We need to prepare painted material. And, well, the good thing is our laser technology is able to really make high-quality cutouts into painted material without burning the paint itself. So very good to use. This is one main example, stainless steel. And the other advantage of the laser technology is it is not so heavy. A laser is much lighter than a real motor for milling, a real spindle. And for that reason, we are able now to rotate around the box. Rotating means that we have a 3D working possibility with our laser. And that gives us the opportunity to work on a small box, for example, on 5 sides together. Only the backside where we have to lay it down is not possible. The third main advantage that we have, a mill has always a small radius. A 6 millimeter mill has a 3 millimeter radius. We have here a cutting size of 0.1 millimeter, and we can do a lot more of special contours, and we do not have in the edges a radius that might be not there in some special cases. So we have a lot of more possibilities for making special contours with real edges that we want to. And last but not least, when you look at the work, the refinishing work that we have with a laser, because of the cutting size, we have no chips and nothing to clean. And for that reason, we only need a vacuum cleaner and make some dust out of the box. And that's it. So that's also a big advantage of the laser. So, of course, our customers that are using our laser at that point are mainly working with a lot of stainless steel and a lot of welded boxes to prepare to use the 5-side possibility of the laser. Let's take a look into the laser. Here you see this is a 3D rotating head of the laser with also a height adjustment system to be, let's say, very precise on the distance for the laser. We have a table to clamp the pieces. I put the table out. So you see, loading of the laser machine can always be done from the outside. So it makes it easier if you want to use a forklift, a crane, a tool for that, to bring that onto our laser system. When I take a box here, the good thing of the laser is we bring no pressure into our workpiece. So we do not have to clamp it really. It is enough when we bring it on the table and so that it is fixed against a 0 point. And this is it. We do not have to clamp it as much as on a milling machine for working. So this is also a big advantage that we have for the laser. Everything what you see, including the housing, the lights inside, and also the compressor that is needed for the cutting air for the laser, everything is included inside our standard delivery, so nothing has to be added on. The only option that we have is over there a system for tappings. Of course, tappings cannot be done with laser technology. For that reason, we have also a second motor as an option to do tapping in mounting panels later on. Okay, so the next question is, how can we come to the programs? That's the same like on the milling machine that we have had before. We have the possibility to load our data directly out of our digital twin. Everything is in there. But we also have a workshop programming software for our facility to make it directly in the work preparation department, or we can import CAD files from a DXF format with a DXF converter, and then we can really directly run the laser machine. So you see, if we are very fast in a preparation, also a laser machine is able to use for batch size 1 for unique production sets.
So meantime, the machines are working fully automated. In this time, the worker in the shop floor can do additional necessary work, especially to reduce the summary of the working time. And here for Rittal Automation Systems, offers special for cable ducts and DIN rail preparation a machine like this. So Jens, can you please explain the advantages of this machine?
Yes, Sekarex is one perfect example to use to pre-assembly wire ducts and DIN rails and use it in the spare time you have while automated machines are running. Necessary for that are data in front of that gives me complete overview of what is necessary on lengths, on articles, and also on holes that are pre-drilled because I have no chance to mark it on my board anymore. This machine can directly take over the complete length information and article information from a digital twin on wire ducts and DIN rails. It has a stop system here that can directly move to the correct length so I can cut it. Also, we have a pneumatic-driven knife for cutting the wire ducts and also cutting the DIN rails. The machine calculates a reference cut directly where it is needed that the holes fit exactly to the pre-drilled hole of a machining center. And also it has an optimization process in it to optimize the waste and the rest that we can have to minimize the rest of wire ducts and DIN rails. The optimization process works even better if we can load more than one project into that machine, and this is possible. Therefore, later on, we need to divide it again into the single projects, and that's the reason why we can directly label every wire duct and DIN rail with the correct device tag information. So you can see the Sekarex is a good example for using spare time for pre-preparation of assembly, and that makes it very, very effective to speed up the process in the workshop.
Additionally, in some applications are also power distribution units. And for this power distribution, also busbar must be created. And Rittal Automation System has also a solution to create busbar.
Yes, busbar is also a good example how the digital twin can help us even if a device is not fully automatically and has no digital interface. Then we can have a good planning, and inside that planning is everything we need to prepare exactly the solution that we want to have later on that fits into our control cabinet. So we have bending radiuses, we have all lengths directly, and we can directly adjust that on that table. Lengths, hydraulic length cutting system, hydraulic bending system with an angle adjustment, and with a small change we can use it with different punches to make all holes inside. It is safe. We have a safety switch with our feet, so also here this on that mobile station. All the devices are also available as single devices that can be used on a fixed place.
Up to here, we saw a lot of different things to preparation of single parts, and all these parts must be mounted. But after mounting, very often the worker must create terminal strips. And this step is very often today manual work. But also to create terminal strips, Rittal Automation Systems developed a specific technology like this.
Creating terminal strips is a very, let's say, error-driven work, because if you imagine what is behind, this is more than snapping on components on a DIN rail. Besides, you first have to look into your bill of material, you have to choose the correct components, you have to choose the correct sequence of the components, you have to mark them, and last but not least, you have to cut the DIN rail somehow and put everything together. So this is a complete process that we have automated here with Rittal automation systems. Starting from the cutting of the DIN rail that we have here with a magazine place of 28 DIN rails that are possible to clamp in. We have here the cutting unit for the DIN rails, and also here we have a reference cut that it fits exactly to our perfix holes that we have done before. We have an engraving tool that we can mark the DIN rail directly with the device tag and the project information that belongs to that. In our second module, this is a pick and place module where we put the right components out of magazines that can be 40 or up to 80 magazines that are possible in that machine. And we can also rotate the components before we snap them on. And including as an option, we can mark it. This is a laser marking system that is able to mark a component in a 3D rotation so that we can really mark it from all the sides that are needed. And last but not least, we bring them out in a sequencer system so that we can store here more than one ready terminal strip that comes out of this machine. So altogether, we have the no look into the bill of material that comes out of the digital twin. We do not need to cut it to the length, to the correct length. We cannot make an error by the sequence of the terminals that are needed, and everything is in a full automatic process.
Additional to the presented technologies, we are now in a process what needs the most time inside the shop floor. And this is the process of wiring of the application. And for this, we have not one solution, we have more than one from Rittal and ePlan. And we will start with the technology from Rittal automation system, the Rittal wire terminal, which prepared fully automated single wires.
Yes, so the wiring process is a very important process inside a panel shop. We calculate that 40 to 70% of the time consumption of a whole project is inside or is driven by the wiring process. We also calculate that 2/3 of that is used for pre-configuring the wires, because that must be individual. So also here we have normally batch size 1, everything is different, and we need to automate something where we have all individual production. So how can we do that? We can do that when we have a 3D planning tool that is able to give us all information that we need, including the routed wire lengths. And we take, of course, our digital twin from ePlan Pro Panel for that. Okay, but let's now talk about some of the components of our wire terminal that we have here in this station. First of all, it starts, of course, with the raw wires inside that wire bins. We call that our wire storage. Depending on kind of wire terminal, we can handle up 24 or 36 wire bins with different wires. Let's take a look inside our machine. All these wires from the wire storage came guided into our wire changing system, which you see here. This is a wire terminal 36 with 36 wire places where they are parked. Then we have the automated feeder system with a feeder roll that brings in the wires into the wire terminal, and in the time when it transports the wire, it also determines the length of every wire, so that we exactly know how long the wire is that we are now in preparation. The wire lengths can be in between 210, this is the shortest length, and up to 10 meter of length for every wire. And we have different colors and different cross sections with the options that are needed. We can handle up 0.5 up to 6 square millimeter in gauge. Okay, so this is here. And also during the feeding of the wire gets printed with an inkjet system. Therefore, we have two inkjet printers below, black and white, that we can mark the wire while we transport it. Inkjet technology has an advantage that we do not lose time for marking the wires. Up to here, you see the two printer heads that are coming from the printer, and we change that automatically by the wire color. It is set up, configured which color of marking the wire is needed. Okay. Then we close that one and go to the other side of that machine. When the wire gets transported, somehow the length of the wire must be stored. Therefore, we have a temporary storage here where the wire, which is now cutted to length and marked, is stored in temporarily. Because with the second end, we are now using these two devices to crimp and strip the wires and make a termination on it. So first the latest side, then we spool the whole temporary storage out and do the first side of the wire. Here you see a lift option. This is needed when we use two aggregates for the stripper crimper units, which is needed for using up to 6 square millimeters. This lift can pull the devices into the correct position. Good. When the wire is produced, then the ready wire must be stored somehow. So inside here, we have the storage of the ready prepared wire for our project. When we start a project, first is that we, of course, load the data from our digital twin. We get every information that we need on color, on end termination, on marking. And we print out labels with a QR code to mark the magazines that belongs to the project we are now using. And these are the magazines where my project later on needs to be, let's say, wired. So this is what we need for that project. This is what we mark with the label printer. Okay, then at that point, I need to close the doors when we want to see the machine running and preparing the wires. But then we cannot see anything. For that reason, we prepared a short video where you can see the machine acting and preparing the wires. Okay. Here on the video, you see the parking positions of the wires, and you see how the wire is feeded. And during the feeding of the wire, you see the printer heads that are printing and marking the wires, source and target. Now you see the rotation unit where the wire ends are stripped and crimped, and then the wires are stored up into the magazine, and they hang in a sequence. This sequence is important because we will show you how this sequence saves us time in the later wiring process again. So let's take the results. And now we can show you what to do with that.
Thank you. So now we have the ready prepared wires with the right length and the right data marking. And this we will install inside our wire card for the next process step of manual wiring.
Welcome on the manual wiring. I think this is one of the biggest part in the workshop where you waste the most time for. And if you look how the guys today working in the workshop, I think based on such paper-printed schematics, for example, there you need a specialist who can read this information, interpret the schematics, yeah, and it's not possible that you can therefore use some lower educated workers, yeah. And one of our idea is that we can get better on this, that we can get faster on this, that we can more flexible on this, and therefore we have a tool, our ePlan Smart Wiring. It's a software tool. It's a server-based software tool. That means you get the license and you get the informations from a server, yeah, out of your IT landscape. Yeah, and the data you see here, our digital twin, for example, it's coming out of our engineering, we have seen, yeah, and it's nearly the same like an export for all other machines. If you look a little bit deeper inside, we have all connections for this enclosure. Yeah, you see every connection is here on the tool, and we can use filters and sortings, for example. Yeah, so we can handle the magazines of the wire terminal. We can handle bundles from supplier or something. We can handle this classical single wire, and therefore we can use the filters. We have here some magazines for the wire terminal, and so I chose the right magazine, number 1, for example. Yeah. Important is now I have the same sequence here in my tool like in the magazine. So I can take out the first wire, and I have exactly the right wire in exactly the right sequence out of the machine. Because smart wiring get a feedback from the wire terminal, for example. And if we look here on such a wire, you see there is a label printed on the wire, but it's quite difficult to read this. On a monitor, it's much more easier. You see the device tag of source and target. And if you go inside the connections, we have much more information. We have the square meters, the color. Yeah, we know the end preparation, the length of the wire. Much more interesting is the informations here out of ProPanel, and this is one of the big benefits. Yeah, we have here the 3D out of ProPanel, where we can see exactly where we have to connect the wire. We can see exactly the routing path, because this is coming also from ProPanel to the target. And if we do the connection, I can use a touch. Okay, I've done. And you see here the status is also changing. Yeah, the status information is growing up to my work. If I close the connection I've done, you see the windows automatically closed. The next windows opens out also automatically. That means the system is leading me through my work. Yeah, so I don't lose time for searching informations in the schematics. And so I can work much more effective and faster, of course. And if I do the connection, I can use both buttons, or I have a common button on here. Yeah, I can also check up this connection. Okay, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. Interesting is if you look here on the progress, here you see the actual status of the project. That means every worker in this project can see the same informations in the same time, because remember, we're sharing the informations over a server. Yeah? So everybody has the same informations. And for example, if we have a question on schematics, if we find an error or we have a question, I can make a sign or write something down on paper. Yeah, but then I have to take a photo, and maybe I have to send it to the engineer per mail or something. Here we have a digital tool, and the benefit is we can use digital tools. We can say, okay, at first I lock this connection. So everybody knows, okay, this connection is locked by the operator. Then I have a message system. Here I can write down a question. I can put on a screenshot additional, and I send this direct out of the tool per mail to the engineer. Yeah, that saves time, so I can work fast and effective. Yeah, and meanwhile, I can go on working. Yeah. Also, if we're working with shifts, normally between shifts you have to make a handover between the shifts. Yeah, that you give the information to the next shift leader. On this tool, not necessary, because you have all informations in the same time for everybody. Yeah, and so we can go on working. Meanwhile, the engineer has found out the changing, yeah, and sent me the information. Okay, please make an update of your project. So I can load an update. Here's a revision 2, and now the system loads the update and compare both versions together and shows me the difference between what I have to do. So it's very easy, yeah, to follow the changings. If you go back to the status information, you see we have some more informations. For example, to be uninstalled. I go to this status, and you see here we have connections we have done, we have wired, and I have to take it out because I have to replace it. The wire, the thickness was too small. I need a bigger one, yeah? So I have to remove it. I take it out. And also the system supports me with the 3D informations by these changings, by these works. Another big tool is, or another big benefit is, if we have done the complete wiring, we want to check our enclosure. And therefore, smart wiring have a checking mode. I go to the settings, checking mode, okay. And now, let's have a look. If we go back to all our done connections, you see, these connections we have finished. And now I can check it. I can go to the enclosure and I can prove it. Beep, okay, connection is in order. And so, I can use a checkbox, yeah, and you see, okay, this connection is wired and is checked. And this I can later also use for the quality statement, for the documentations, and go on. Yeah, last but not least, we have a monitoring function in smart wiring. That means the responsible guy in for the workshop, for example, has to manage his resources, human resources, material resources. So he has to know the status of all the running projects. And therefore, here in the monitor, we can go into a project. Yeah, we have an overview over all projects. We can have a look inside a project, and we see the actual status of progress of this project. And so he can imagine, okay, this guy needs maybe 1 or 2 days to be finished, and I can order new parts for the new project, and the guy can start with the project in 2 days, for example. And so you can see the big benefits of the smart wiring system is that you can be much more effective, that you can be much more faster. You don't need specialists anymore, because the wiring job can be done also by lower educated workers. Yeah? And you have more transparency in your projects, yeah, because all the informations are shared on a server. Yeah, the responsible guy has an overview over everything. Yeah, and there are no handshakes between shifts necessary anymore, and go on. Okay, thanks for your attention. That's from ePlan Smart Wiring.
Additional to the presented solution, very often are also some smaller or semi-automated solutions are helpful. So, Jens, please explain the details for this.
Rittal has many possibilities for wire preparation solutions, and we want to take now a deeper look to the semi-automatic machines that we have. Semi-automatic machines split their functions, not do the whole project, split their functions into, for example, stripping and crimping, wire length cutting, or stripping only. And we want to take a look to our devices that we have here. So we have an electrical device with ferrules on a chain up to 2.5 millimeters stripping and crimping. We have the same gauges, but here with an electropneumatic version and with loose ferrules in a bin to strip and crimp. And we have a 5x stripper crimper that makes it easy to switch over to different gauges just with a click and choose the right gauge that is needed. These are also on a chain, the ferrules. Okay, here you can see a length cutter. You can easily input a length and cut it, the wire, up to that length. But also this one can import data from our digital twin, and you just press the start-stop button to go further and have different wire lengths for an individual project. Also, last but not least, you can see over there, this is a stripper only, but that one is able to do stripping and part stripping of a wire. So that can be manage one end of the wire, for example, that needs to be installed later. You can do a part stripping for wire rings or shoes or whatever is needed over here. Okay. Now let's look to that nice table here. This is an ergonomic table that you can customize individually with a lot of things that helps you to have your wire technician to have an ergonomic wire place to work. You can equip that one with different features. It always has a drawer with an inlay for your tools and the rolls and the bin in it, but you can customize it with different shelves for different devices, with wire rollers or some holders with a light, with a VESA holder for your monitor and a PC holder for an industrial PC, and last but not least also with our holder for the magazines of the wire terminal. We have three templates, let's say, three variants that we have pre-configured for manually work or work with semi-automatic machines or work together with the wires out of our wire terminal together with the smart wiring solution. That's from my side for the semi-automatic wiring and the wiring solutions. I want to thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Michael and Jens, for your overview about the solutions for the shop floor. After completed the wiring and end mounting process, your application maybe looks like this. So next and final step are the quality control and end checking before the enclosure can be delivered to your end customer. And then on end customer side, there comes the next step, is the next area, is the part of operation. And also for the area of operation, Rittal and ePlan offers some interesting application. One is the application ePlan eView. And for this, I hand over the voice again to Michael. Michael, can you please explain what is behind this buzzword ePlan eView?
Additional to the engineering, I want to show you a very powerful tool, ePlan eView. If you look on my screen, here you can see the project I have checked out from ePlan platform direct to the cloud. Here I can do the managing of my project. I can define users. I can invite users. I can give rules to users. I have the revision control. That means I have all versions of this project from the beginning up to the end. If you have a look inside, you see here we have the pages. Yeah, like you know from your engineering or like you know from the PDF viewer, for example. Yeah, depending on the device or device tags. Yeah, you can find also all information about the page. We have the 3D view that is this, for example, the workspaces from per panel. You have here inside a viewer. You can move it, you can turn it and go on. On the devices, yeah, here we have all devices. You can see all information to the devices out of your local database, including a link direct to the Tata portal. You see here, there's our cabin light, yeah, with all necessary informations and the direct link here over to the data portal. there you can download, for example, direct, depending on this link, the data out of the data portal. Last but not least, we have in eView, we have the red linings and the green linings. And this is a very, very nice tool and makes a big difference on this tool. You see on the red linings, these are markers, or markings and comments you can do on the cloud, on the platform, and everybody can see it on the same time. That means if the users get a link or for an invitation with a link to this project, they have always the same stand of informations. And if I go back into my platform, you see here we are inside the platform, and I'm logged in on eView 3, and I see all the red linings direct here. You see the markering in my project, so I can do the changings, save the changings, make a new checkout into the cloud, and I have a new revision in eView 3. And so you can imagine it's very easy to share information between you, your customers, your co-workers, your partners, and go on. And this tool is completely for free if you are ePlan customer and you have a software service contract.
Thank you, Michael. And now I'm glad to introduce you the next speaker. It's Judith Kötsch. She is responsible inside the business unit service for the business development and for the technical support and hotline. Judith, can you explain to our visitors what is behind Rittal Smart Service? What is this application for and what are the advantages of this?
Thank you and hello everybody. I'm very pleased to introduce Rittal Smart Service to you as part of our overall Rittal service portfolio. Now, when we talk about smart service, we talk about IoT, and we talk about connecting and networking assets and components in your production environment. Such, for example, Bluey Plus cooling units that are part of the overall production process. Networking of such assets and components enables us to provide major advantages in terms of maintenance and service. Based on a typical service intervention, I actually brought this illustration here for you that demonstrates this whole transformation. So on the far left, yesterday, we basically talk about a technician who needed to be on site to spend a lot of time and effort in order to identify root causes for any failures or errors and to identify what the right solutions are. In the middle picture, we already made progress, so where it says today, we already use innovative software tools in order to expedite this whole process of failure, root cause analysis, and resolution steps. Now, on the right-hand side, when we talk about tomorrow, this is actually what we view as the future, because here we talk about smart service and similar concepts that help us to centrally and remotely monitor different assets and devices and identify any issues early on in the process and do that without someone being on site. Now, how does Rittal Smart Service work? I brought this illustration along that actually represents our smart service process, and it starts out here with our Rittal Bluey Plus cooling unit that is connected with a IoT interface from Rittal with the customer network. And by the way, since we are broadcasting from our innovation center here, I actually have one of those units to my left. And this unit, this Bluey Plus cooling unit is actually connected to the network of the innovation center and also part of our smart service dashboard. So in the next step, as part of the whole process, we basically transmit the data, both the operational data and also any system and failure messages into our smart service cloud. We do that in an encrypted and one-directional way. And by the way, our smart service cloud is also part of a data center within the Friedhelm Loh Group. So with all these aspects, we take data security very serious. The information we get from the different assets, we also use in the next step for further data analytics. That means we apply intelligent algorithms in order to interpret the data and set the basis for true predictive maintenance, anticipating and predicting any upcoming failures or issues. So that's a great side effect or side benefit from this whole process. The next step in our service process, in our smart service process, is actually the smart service portal. And that puts you as the end user in a position to monitor all the assets that are connected and identify any service activities that are required. In order to make this more transparent, I would like to show you some of the screens from our smart service portal. Here on this screen, you actually see the number of cooling units that are connected. So we've got a total of 46 connected units. 7 units are currently offline, and you get additional information such as the number of warnings, for example, or information regarding the energy consumption. Also available is the widget, the map widget here on the lower part of the slide, where you can basically see if you have any assets or units in different locations. This applies especially to customers and end users that have different production sites in different locations, for example. You also have the option of using this color code and identifying where you have units where service activities are required. So red and green in this picture, for example. Once you scroll down, you get additional information on the total number of units, but also the list of assets that you have in your smart service portal basically integrated. And once I identify where I have units that require any actions, and this is actually the case for the upper 2 assets here in my list, because the list is sorted by relevance, it allows me to dive into the details. And once I basically click on one of those units, select one of those units, I get all relevant information for this very unit. So all the different operational data is visible here. I've got the master data for the unit, for example. So I can actually look at details from the past. I can look at the unit history and can also identify any current issues or system messages. And then an additional advantage is basically, as part of the smart service portal, is the fact that for this unit that I just selected, I get additional and more information on the error code. So here, for example, we have active cooling function. And now, as the end user, I don't have to look up the information in the manual. I have everything that's relevant here at first sight. That means I get a description of the error message, and also I get details on what I, as the end user, should do in order to fix the issue. So here, for example, I have the different proposals, and this allows me to perform these things described here, and only if this doesn't work to fix the issue, I can now contact the Rittal service. Now that I've demonstrated the information that can be found in the smart service portal, would like to take you back to our smart service process. We actually looked at the smart service portal here. The next step is basically the complete remote monitoring, and this actually describes the Rittal service organization, who is put in a position where we can actually remotely look at a specific unit that requires support or service. That means if you as the end user allow us to access the information, but it also puts us in a position where we can be much more specific and much faster when it comes to analyzing what the root cause is by looking at the operational data, looking at past system messages, for example. And this sets the basis to accelerate this whole service process. So that means by knowing what's going on in much more detail, we can identify what spare parts are needed or what additional information may be needed by the service technician, who then travels on site to actually fix the issue or repair the unit. And this whole process supports basically the optimization of a very important key performance indicator in the service world, which is the first-time fix rate, by supplying all the relevant information and parts before the technician travels on site. First-time fix rate means the technician can actually solve the issue and perform the repair during the first visit. Means doesn't have to travel to the customer a second time, and hence we have reduced costs here for all parties involved. To wrap this up, I would like to look at the benefits when it comes to the smart service concept. And well, first of all, we look at enhanced machine availability. So by anticipating any issues, by identifying issues early on in the process, that means the downtime of any assets or machines can be reduced. It also helps, and that's the second aspect, of well, being much more demand-driven when it comes to maintenance and repair, and move away from interval-driven maintenance, which can be very cost-intense, for example. And thirdly, it helps to optimize the complete service process by being much faster in default analysis and default resolution. So overall, it helps with cost reduction and process optimization in the MRO environment. Now, we at Rittal, we are still in a pilot phase when it comes to smart service. However, if you are interested in learning more or getting more details regarding smart service, please feel free to contact us at smartservice@rittal.de. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judith, for your interesting information about Rittal Smart Service. And also a summary thank you to all speakers who supports me during the round tour through the Rittal Innovation Center. Because now we are on the end of our round tour, hopefully we have hand over to you some helpful and interesting information about our technologies to support you in your daily work, to optimize your personal value chain and make panel building smarter. And this in the different areas, maybe in engineering, in sourcing, in manufacturing or operation, or maybe in all of them. If you'd like to get more information about the products, the solution, the technologies, please visit our info center directly here inside this platform. And you can also request consultancy here. Or contact your well-known responsible person from Rittal and ePlan later on. And in a few seconds, we will start with the Q&A session to answer your personal questions.